What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you week 1 of the DGBA against jjgalz and his DC Umbreon. And before I get into anything, just a reminder that if you like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, as it helps us out a ton and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And before I get into anything, I just want to give a little bit of backstory, because I'm not doing a draft recap because #lazy, and also because at the time of the draft, like when the draft ended, I was still BNR and CPC, so I didn't necessarily have the time to do all that. But yeah, with BNR having died and CPC Championship looming, I mean, I'm recording this video before the CPC Championship is played, but I'm not sure on the timing whether or not this video will go up before or after I post the championship video. But either way, at the time I'm recording this, BNR had just died, and CPC, I had a single game left. And I'll be honest, I went try hard in both of those leagues. I spent a long time team building on every team that I used, and I also would get like multiple mocks just to formulate a game plan, make sure that the team worked, make sure that I didn't overlook any like single aspect that could potentially ruin me, and as such that was very time consuming and very exhausting. So when I was looking around for another league to apply to after those had ended, the DGBA caught my eye, because not only was it a shortened season, I mean this one is only like 7 weeks, there were also like a ton of really interesting unbans. Like in this particular matchup, you have Blaziken, which is speed boost, but it's not allowed to have SD or an item, and I have a Deoxys speed with no nasty plot and no Z move. So I mean, there are multiple other mons in the league just like that, where they are allowed, where they would normally be banned, but they have certain restrictions on them. So very, very cool. And also just the general aura of this league was a very chill league where I felt like I could really try some stuff out. Like I wasn't pressured to like try to win each game like as much as I could. Like I didn't have to really, I don't know, I didn't want to put in necessarily the effort that I did with those other leagues. And I mean, that's absolutely no disrespect to anybody in this league, just because everybody at this point in this league feels similarly. Like they feel like this is a very chill league just to try some unbans and have some fun. So I was really looking forward to this, to try some new stuff out, not just mons wise, but also in terms of style. And the main thing was, well, for week 1 anyway, was because this is going to be the only DGBA game that overlaps with me being in another league, I felt that this was the perfect time to test out if, in my year since I last tried it, if I had gotten good enough at team building to where I was able to dissect a matchup on like within 10 minutes and build a team that could succeed. That was always something that I like wanted to try to do, but ended disastrously every time I had done it recently, so I just kind of was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. But this league presented the perfect opportunity to do that, and this matchup was the very first one that I decided to do that with, just see, okay, how has my initial like instinct team building gotten to where I can try to build a team in 10 minutes and see how it goes. So that's what I'm going to try to do in this one. I built this team very, very quickly. And I mean, that's not out of disrespect to my opponent or disrespect to the league. This is just like, I'm in this league to have some fun and to try some stuff out. So I wanted to see how things went. And not going to lie, I'm actually pretty happy with the team that I built, in all honesty. I built this was like a support Spikes Deoxys, a sub 3 attacks Landorus, a Bronzong with the Rocky Helmet and Stealth Rock, a Spinning Tentacruel, and then a Muck that's designed to take on Hoopa, and a Manectric. And his team consisted of Blaziken, Toxapex, Thundurus, Hoopa Unbound, Ferrothorn, Diggersby, Mega Pinsir, Chansey, Slurpuff, Goodra, and Braviary, whereas the rest of my team that I did not bring, actually, you know what, I'm just going to read my team from the top down: Deoxys Speed, Landorus Eye, Weavile, Serperior, Floette, Eternal, Volcarona, Bronzong, Tentacruel, Dragonite, Muck, and Mega Manectric. So I have a very, very fun team, and I really like this matchup, and particularly with this battle, like starting right off, I'm seeing that Manectric has a wonderful time because my opponent has no ground type, so I can just Volt Switch freely. If I can get spikes up, they look like they will be here to stay and can really, really hurt his team, so that is going to be my MO. But, like I said, because he doesn't have a ground type, I'm going to immediately lead off with my Manectric as he leads off with his Hoopa, and because I have the Intimidate, I know that a Scarf Hoopa is the only thing that can outspeed me, so I'm going to go ahead and Mega Evolve and go for the Volt Switch as he does go straight into his Chansey, and what this gives me is a very free switch into my Deoxys just to either get up spikes or go for a knockoff. Now, considering I thought Chansey might try to take this first turn to go for a T-Wave on my Deoxys, I decided to stay in and go for a knockoff as opposed to spikes, just because, I mean, I felt like that covered whatever play Chansey wanted to do and whatever he wanted to switch in, as he does go into his Hoopa, and he only takes 27% from that, and there's nothing knocked off, so I know that this is a Z Hoopa. But considering my Muck is at full health, I'm going to go straight into that thing as he goes for the Hyperspace Fury. That does absolutely nothing, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to go straight for the Poison Jab. Like, this was actually a misplay on my part. What I should have done is immediately click the knockoff, but because I figured that, okay, with the Z Crystal, he wouldn't, like, knockoff would not kill from that range. So, I mean, I went for Poison Jab thinking that it could kill, but I mean, it turned out it wouldn't have killed regardless. So that was just kind of a misplay on my part, as Toxapex comes in, takes absolutely nothing from that Poison Jab. But now, with Toxapex in, I know I can take this opportunity to go back into my Deoxys speed as he goes for the Scald. Luckily, does not get the burn, that does nothing. But now this is a free opportunity for me to get up a spike to start pressuring him as he goes back into his Hoopa as I get the spike up. And my Deoxys is recovering nicely. Muck will be able to come in, take the Hyperspace Fury very easily, pop its berry, and then just be back near full to take on this Hoopa. So Hyperspace Fury does a decent chunk. I am able to recover right back up, and I actually go for the Recycle this turn as he makes a very good play and goes for the Drain Punch, because I was thinking, okay, this Hoopa, like, even if it stays in and goes for its Z, I will be able to live that and recycle. If he stays in and doesn't go for Z, well, I can still recycle and not be in range of Z after that. So that's what I do, as he makes a very good play. Drain Punches me and then goes into Toxapex as I Poison Jab, and now the second Poison Jab I actually stand by, because at this point I decided to consult the calc this time around, and it turned out that Hoopa would only die to a Poison Jab, so I stand by that one. I definitely stand by that particular play. And now I'm actually going to go for the knockoff, as I was thinking, okay, he might try to double, as I've shown that my switching between Deoxys and Muck is kind of going to start pressuring him quite a bit, as I can get up spikes, I can get up, I can keep pressuring with knockoff, whatever. So I stay in and go for the knockoff, because if he stayed in with Toxapex, well, I get rid of his item, yay for me, but I actually did predict the Hoopa, so it was just kind of a safe play that I technically did predict, but I mean, it still ended up working out, even if he had stayed in. But now he's going to pop the Z. I knew that I would be able to live as long as it wasn't a Z Focus Punch, which it luckily wasn't, and I am able to knock that thing out with a Poison Jab. So Hoopa is now down, and he goes into Blaziken, and here I make another misplay. So you know what I said I was talking about with the, you know how I said that I normally like to form a game plan? Well, this is the first instance where it really is going to come back to bite me, because Muck has already done its job. Muck's job was to take on Hoopa. That's how I built it. And so once Hoopa's gone, I should have just stayed in and attacked this Blaziken, because if Blaziken does not boost, then it's not a problem for me. If Blaziken does boost and I don't get damage off on it, that's when it becomes an issue. So this is where not having a game plan really comes back to bite me, because instead of just staying in and Poison Jabbing and sacking off Muck like I should have done, I decided to go into Deoxys, as the Blaziken gets a very free workup, and if he doesn't have Protect, I will outspeed, but unfortunately, as you will see, he does have the Protect. So it really comes back to bite me that I didn't even think about Blaziken boosting on the switch into Deoxys, and I should have just gotten the damage off when I could, because now I'm staring down at a +1/+2 Blaziken that one-shotted my Deoxys, and I really have nothing that can come in and not take a crap load of damage in order to take it out. Now, once again, my relative lack of foresight in team building. So Tentacool, okay, so I know I'm going to be pausing a lot, but this is where you kind of see the difference between my methodical team building and mocking and the result of that versus the result of me going very, very quickly. Because I already made the mistake of trying to preserve Muck once his Hoopa went down and Muck was the check. Well, now I designed Tentacool to try to take on Blaziken, but I neglected to design Tentacruel in such a way that it can take on a +1 Blaziken, which Blaziken could easily do with both Bulk Up and Work Up in this case. So what I should have had is a Shuka Berry Tentacruel to be able to come in, eat the Earthquake, and KO back with Scald. However, that's not the case, as I do have Black Sludge, and thinking about this matchup, there's zero reason for me to have Black Sludge over Shuka Berry on the Tentacruel. So, that being the case, and that I cannot take a +1 Earthquake, I'm going to have to go into my Mega Manectric, eat an Adamant Flare Blitz. I live it, luckily, because of a decent amount of bulk, and I am able to KO the Blaziken with a Thunderbolt. And so, yeah, now my speed is looking really iffy, and that Mega Pinsir is looking like a gigantic threat, because my Mega Manectric's worn down and my Deoxys is gone. I mean, I still have Bronzong, luckily, but yeah, things are not looking good. And he goes into Thundurus, and quite honestly, this was just a complete lapse in judgment by me. I was thinking that, okay, Thundurus came in, it's just, I'm going to be able to get a Volt Switch off, go into, like, sack off Tentacruel and go from there. But, okay, if you bring in a Thundurus on a Mega Manectric and not Pinsir, or not Mega Pinsir, whose Quick Attack probably KO'd from this range, it's going to be Scarfed, and spoilers, it is, and it KOs my Mega Manectric, so that was just kind of a, oops. But now he goes into Toxapex, and I'm way in the back at this point, so I'm thinking that my only real way of being able to win the game is to get a sub up with Thundurus as he, or not Thundurus, Landorus, as he tries to avoid the Earth Power and go into his Thundy, but unfortunately he makes a smart play, stays in with Toxapex, Scalds, and I'm just going to knock out that thing with the Earth Power. So yeah, now it's 4-3, but he does have a free switch into his Mega Pinsir. However, again, I have the Bronzong that is designed perfectly for this Mega Pinsir, as he is going to Mega Evolve and go straight for the return, and I'm like, oh, perfect, I'm going to be able to get Rocky Helmet damage off on that thing and just wear it lower and lower, but there's no Rocky Helmet damage. And I was like, what the heck, why is there no Rocky Helmet damage? Well, turns out, in my haste, I made this thing Rock Incense, not Rocky Helmet, so I was just kind of like, well, this would have been nice if I had Rock Slide, but unfortunately that is not the case. So yeah, I'm just going to go for the Gyro Ball, try to 2-hit KO that thing from this range. Not even sure it would have 2-hit KO'd as he goes into Chansey, and I'm just going to take this opportunity to get my rocks straight up. And I'm thinking that I have an opportunity at this point. So I'm going to go into my Muck, because if I can knock off this Chansey, then potentially my Mons can win. Like, Bronzong might be able to win if I'm able to get Pinsir out, or not Bronzong, Muck will be able to win if I can get Pinsir out of the way. Now, if I just sacked off Muck earlier, then I still would have had my Deoxys, still would have had Manectric, but that is, well, I still would have had Deoxys at full health. Manectric probably would have had to take the hit because Tentacruel was not designed for the Blaziken anyway, or it was designed for the Blaziken, but not smartly designed for the Blaziken. So either way, the situation I'm in, Muck, I'm thinking, is going to be my win con, so I'm going to go straight into that thing, as I can eat 2 Seismic Tosses easily from the Chansey from this range, and I can potentially knock it off, as I'm going to go for the Recycle just to get my health back up so I can better take on Thundy as he throws up a Wish. Now here, I make yet another misplay, and this wasn't from not having a game plan, this was just from not fully thinking things out, just kind of clicking buttons and not fully thinking things out. At this point, he wins by healing up Mega Pinsir. If he heals up Thundurus, then okay, cool, like that's fine. Thundurus has shown to be Scarfed. My Muck has a decent amount of special defense. It can beat that thing 1v1, and a Scarf Thundurus is not going to beat me at this point. If Chansey stays in and receives the Wish, well, cool, I can just knock that thing out next turn and we can rinse and repeat. The only way I lose is if he's able to Wish Pass into Mega Pinsir at this point. So I even acknowledge that. I acknowledge that that is the play, and I'm going to click Poison Jab. But yeah, just like, I don't know why I clicked Poison Jab over Fire Punch, because if I had predicted, like if I had tried to just cover Chansey and Thundurus, I would have clicked Knockoff, because that would have done more damage to both, and also gotten rid of the item. However, by clicking Poison Jab, I acknowledged that his play is to go into Pinsir, and I'm trying to catch that thing on the switch, which he does end up doing, but because I clicked Poison Jab and not Fire Punch, it's not going to knock him out, and he is going to receive the Wish, and at this point, without the Rocky Helmet, without Muck being able to do sufficient damage, like if I crit, then Mega Pinsir, then I can potentially win, but otherwise Mega Pinsir will probably sweep me, as he is able to get the free Swords Dance, able to knock me out, and Bronzong is going to come in. If I had the Rocky Helmet, then I would be in an amazing spot, because I can knock that thing out easily, and then Landorus plus Tentacruel is very difficult for a Scarf Thunderous to deal with, and Gyro Ball just does not quite do enough, and this will just be a Mega Pinsir sweep. So yeah, I mean, that ended up... Okay, so first of all, he bodied me. He straight up bodied me. Like, my attempt to see how playing with a team that I built in 10 minutes, like the reason that I decided to try to build in 10 minutes was to see if I could join more leagues, like if I could do more leagues at once. If my 10-minute prep was sufficient, then boom, I could do more leagues, upload more, all that good stuff. So I made the conscious choice to not put in as much effort on this particular matchup, and it blew up in my face. I really envy and admire those that are able to do the 10-minute prep and have the ability to win and formulate a game plan based on that prep. I'm not one of those guys. As this battle has shown, not only did I not have the sufficient prep, but even in the game, my game plan was not even remotely formulated, because if I had a game plan with this team, I think I could have won, because I would have still had Deoxys at a decent amount of health, and I would have had what was sufficient to win the game. However, whether it was just a simple item oversight with the Bronzong, whether that was having the completely incorrect item with Tentacruel, I'm not saying that like I had the wrong item on it, I'm saying that like for the matchup, instead of Black Sludge, it should have been Shukaberry, that I've shown that I am not at that point yet where I can do 10-minute prep and have it be sufficient. So I mean, that's a very good learning experience. Like, I don't like to lose, obviously, but I would rather it be in a situation like this where we are all just having fun and the win-loss really doesn't matter. It's just kind of a chill situation. So yeah, I mean, I took a good amount from this game. I'm able to learn that I am not at that point yet where I can 10-minute prep, because because one, I need a game plan, and two, I need to not have rock incense on my Bronzong. So either way, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.